Okay, well, we have come to the end of our time together, so I wanted to summarize a couple of the themes from our conversation and provide a couple of concluding remarks. We've talked about the importance of a balanced approach between treatment and corrections and the absolute necessity of using collaboration to develop that balanced approach. Collaboration between the treatment provider, the corrections staff, and also involving the client offender in that collaboration. And two, we've talked about seeing the probation parole officer as a part of the treatment team, as a part of the treatment process, and building on our ability to really affect change in an individual. We've looked at ways to use data to help us measure performance, and we talked about the importance of looking both at outcome measures and at process measures. But also we talked about the value of real-life monitoring and coaching in order to help move skills into practice, and that whole notion of technology transfer, how best to move what we know from the research into day-to-day practice, and how do we support that. We've talked about the fact that treatment staff and correction staff need to be prepared to deal with a different kind of client population than was historically true, and some strategies to do that. And we've talked some about data systems and how they take time to develop, but also there's that thing that happens, I think, in the field where even when we have a great data system, sometimes we don't use the data that we have. So it's important to think through how to create feedback loops and actually use the data that we're collecting once we are lucky enough to have data. I'd like to make just a few points in closing. One is that effective treatment is compatible with public safety, and in fact, I think it is truly required in many cases to support public safety. So really, treatment is part of the criminal justice system if we're doing our work right. Second, holding offenders accountable for behavior while on supervision is possible to do while still engaging that person in treatment. And three, I think we are in the process of a pretty complete and dramatic change in how corrections agencies see their role in getting offenders to treatment. It used to be that we sent people who were motivated or maybe even deserving of treatment. Those are the ones who were referred to treatment. It was more a kind of offender-driven type of system. Now I think it's the corrections professional more and more who is taking the initiative and deciding based on the mission of the agency, on the research on effectiveness, and on a good assessment of criminal risk and need, who should be referred to treatment. It's a much more active role than it was in the past. And what that means is that it's the higher risk, the more antisocial offender, as we've been talking about today, that's the one who is being referred now to treatment, which means that we need to understand that we'll be working with this more difficult group. We need to become good at increasing the levels of their motivation to change so that they can actually become engaged in treatment. I think that's true both for the corrections professional and for the treatment professional. And we need to plan to deal with noncompliance in a way that provides a consequence but keeps that offender engaged in treatment. I'd like to bring Kate from the Crime and Justice Institute back on the line.
Thank you, Ginger, and thank you to all our panelists today for taking the time to share their insights and experiences with us. The conversation was so thorough and gave really practical examples and advice for our audience members to take home with them. We hope that the information provided today was useful to you, the audience, and want to invite you to our next Wednesday series entitled Using Evidence to Promote Public Safety, Practical Considerations for Defense, on September 8th. Our featured presenter and moderator will be Kate Clark, Director of the Public Interest Law Opportunities at Equal Justice Works. Please feel free to visit our website, www.cjinstitute.org, for a recording of this webinar, both PowerPoint and audio, information on the FAQ sheet, panelist bios, and information on upcoming webinars, as well as other helpful resources. We did get several questions about Connecticut's contractor data collection system toward the end of the webinar, and we'll be sure to see if Connecticut can share some examples of what they are doing with that information. Following the completion of this broadcast, a pop-up evaluation form will be provided to you. We thank you in advance for any thoughts or feedback as we continue to use your feedback to help us provide you with high-quality webinars. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day.